Right now at 5, law enforcement in Herman, Missouri continue their search for a suspect wanted for a shooting involving 2 Herman officers.
We've got a very cold start to our Monday, and we're not going to get very warm today, but there are some changes in our forecast. We'll talk about all that coming up.
And high school students beware. KOAM's Yana Tula tells us about a scam involving scholarships that the Better Business Bureau says to watch out for.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. It's definitely feeling that loss of an hour of sleep.
Yeah?
I'm still feeling it today. It's going to take a couple of weeks to catch back up, I think. So
oddly enough, it didn't affect me as much as I thought it would.
Well, that's good, though.
Yeah.
That's good. I know some folks out there, it's not that big of a deal, but some of us, we have a hard time with it, and definitely experiencing that hard time today. And it doesn't help either that it is extraordinarily cold out there. The temperatures, everything just does not feel right. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looking good other than the fact it is cold, so let's talk how cold it is. It's 26, feeling like 18, though, in Joplin. The north breeze at 7 miles an hour. And across the area, as mentioned, cold is the only way to describe it. 25 Yates Center, 26 Iola, Fort Scott, 27 Lamar and Pittsburgh, 28 Neosho, and we're sitting at 29 in Miami. As we get our day started again, it will be cold, making it up to about 30 by late morning, and we'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies, but these clouds will begin to clear as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. We are not going to be very warm today as we only make it into the lower 40s for highs, but we'll have a bit more sunshine out there. And as we head into this evening, it's another cold one, down to 27 for our overnight low under mostly clear skies. So well below average for our highs and below average for our lows as well. So as we head down the road, though, there's a couple of things that are changing up our forecast. We will start to actually warm up, believe it or not. And then as we head into Thursday, we're going to start to see a few scattered showers and maybe even some thunderstorms as we head into Thursday afternoon and into Thursday evening and overnight. Overnight, as the temperatures drop, there's a possibility of a brief changeover to snow. We're not anticipating much out of that snow, but it is a possibility, so we're keeping an eye on that for you. We're making it up to 51 tomorrow, 62 Wednesday, a bit breezy, more clouds ahead of the storms Thursday, 64. But you can see this doesn't last very long before we're right back down below average. Maybe some morning showers St. Patty's Day, 43 for the high, and we hang out in the 40s heading into the upcoming weekend, and our temperatures, of course, follow suit. They warm up briefly and then get well below freezing yet again. Tanya?
All right, well, not really looking forward to those colder temperatures, but it is. Well, we have a blue alert out of Herman, Missouri, breaking overnight. Just after 9:15 Sunday night, a shooting took place at Casey's on 811 Market Street in Herman, Missouri. Reports say a suspect shot 2 Herman police officers and fled the scene. Now, this man, Kenneth Lee Simpson, who is 35 years old, is that suspect. At this time, it is unknown if the suspect is on foot or in a 2014 black Jeep Wrangler. Missouri license plate number RF5AOP. Now, if you have any information pertaining to this alert, please contact your local law enforcement. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download our KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. A warning for high school students currently looking for scholarships to help continue their studies. The Better Business Bureau says those opportunities are also an opportunity for scammers. KOAM's Yana Tula learned more about the scam.
While applying for scholarships, Pamela Hernandez of the Better Business Bureau reminds students to look for red flags, such as application or processing fees.
Students being told in an unsolicited email that they've won a grant or a scholarship that they've never applied for, or they're offered a grant or scholarship that is quote unquote guaranteed.
Hernandez says the best place to look and get assistance with scholarships is at school. Becca Diskin at Missouri Southern State University's Financial Aid Office says if something seems too good to be true, it probably isn't.
Most of the time we can pretty much tell because those agencies are soliciting us too. We're getting emails from them saying, hey, post this scholarship for us, and we look into it and it's not really a scholarship company at all.
The Financial Aid Office at MSSU doesn't only assist with scholarships from the school, but they also have an outside scholarship resource page.
We have a whole host of scholarships from the outside community where we know students have been successful bringing scholarship funds to Southern.
Hernandez recommends students applying online to always verify the organization independently.
Not only just scholarship scams, but student loan forgiveness scams, because there's a lot of confusion around what's going right now with student loans. So that's just something additional we're starting to see.
In Joplin, Janna Hautala, KOAM News.
Hernandez says scholarship scammers not only get access to bank account information, they can also use information from applications with personal identifying information, which can be used for identity theft. Well, the Miners Hall Museum in Franklin, Kansas hosts its next program in conjunction with its quarterly exhibit of money and metals, doing business in the mining era. Participants learned how to sort their coins for appraisal, as well as which coins they could spend and which coins they should save. The event featured special guests to help take a deeper look at the coinage.
I think there's no substitute for experience. You know, having kids touch money, use money, spend money, save money is very, very important. And that's how we all started as collectors. So the more experience people get with actually handling money, the more familiarity they have with it, of course.
Participants were able to view the quarterly exhibit following the presentation. The Comic Book Roadshow rolled into Joplin at the Hilton Garden Inn to see what collectibles 4-staters had to offer. Those at the event had the opportunity to sell their vintage comic books, baseball cards, toys, and video games for cash. The roadshow was staffed with antique dealers that specialize in such collectibles.
Well, a lot of times it's the excitement on their faces when they think, I almost threw it away. Well, my wife said, no, let's go see what they're worth, you know, and then it's like, see, I told you so. We should have took it in there, and now we did. Now we can, you know, go have a vacation somewhere for a weekend with the money.
The show continues today back at the Hilton Garden Inn starting at 10 a.m. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, rain, go away. Winter has hammered the West Coast for months, and it's not done yet as the likelihood of rain brings flood concerns. Plus, new hope for migraine sufferers as the FDA approves a new nasal spray treatment. And Hollywood shows off its biggest night at the 95th Academy Awards and makes history in the process. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
People ask, why Bad Boy? It's simple. Every Bad Boy mower and every Bad Boy tractor are born from...
Well, millions in California are bracing for another atmospheric river event that's expected to take aim on the state today. Residents have been dealing with widespread rain and massive flooding in Monterey County, where a levee was breached. Shelters are becoming crowded as emergency crews rescue those stranded in floodwaters. Isabel Rosales has the latest.
In Monterey County, California, roads and streets are now rivers after heavy rainfall across the state in recent days. But now millions of residents are bracing for another round of storms. On Monday, this next storm is likely to be the 11th atmospheric river of the winter season to impact the West. The storm is expected to bring even more flooding to central and northern California.
Sunday night into Monday. Notice the heavier rain really starting to ramp up. Not only then, but again rolling into Tuesday morning.
Monterey County is among one of the hardest hit areas in the state. The Pajaro River breached a levee on Friday, sending raging waters sweeping through neighborhoods. All weekend, local officials and emergency crews have been hard at work to rescue residents unable to evacuate.
They started evacuating, I think, at 12 in the morning or 1 in the morning. They just started, the National Guards are taking people out as they go.
We've had 90 rescues since this event started. We've done 15 to 20 rescues by boat.
Right above you, Dr. Hook.
Meanwhile, dramatic video showing California Highway Patrol rescue a man after rising floodwaters washed his car away. The man was able to get out of the car and onto an island in the middle of the Salina River. According to the agency, the man was not hurt and was lowered to safety nearby. For now, California officials are reminding residents to avoid travel and stay clear of several waterways. I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
Well, still to come, helping out man's best friend. Southeast Kansas Humane Society hosts a microchip clinic to help prevent pets from getting lost. And we're going to take another look at that forecast for you and when we'll see warmer weather when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. A cold start for us as we kick off this work week. Some of us on spring break, some of us not until next week, and not feeling very spring-like today, though. We are cold. MoDOT camera 20th and range line, we're looking good. How cold are we? We are this cold. 26 in Joplin, feeling like 18 with a north breeze at about 7 miles an hour. How cold are we in other places? We are this cold. 26 Iola, Fort Scott, Nevada, 27 Pittsburgh, Lamar, 28 Chetopa, 29 Miami, 28 in Neosho, and in Monette. As we get our day started, we'll be partly to mostly cloudy, and we will remain cold, well below average here as we make it up to about 30 by 11 this morning. And as we head into our afternoon, not very warm. We are some 10 to 15 degrees off of our average highs. So we're looking highs in the lower 40s today, but we'll start to see these clouds clear and we'll see a little bit more sunshine as we head into the afternoon and into the evening hours as well. But we're still cold, mostly clear overnight, dropping back down to a low of 27. We're at freezing by 10 o'clock tonight. But hey, remember, sun stays out a little bit longer. Sunset tonight, 7:23. So as we go through the next couple of days, we will start to actually see some warmer weather. It'll be brief, but we will warm up a bit before we see a relatively powerful cold front start to roll into the area Thursday. And that's going to bring us some showers, maybe some thunderstorms across the region as we head through our Thursday afternoon into the evening. And then there is the possibility, as temperatures drop on the backside of this, that we could see a brief transition to some light snow across the area. Now, right now, we're not anticipating anything significant out of the snow, but it is something we're going to keep an eye on for you. We're up to 51 tomorrow, partly cloudy, mostly cloudy, breezy on Wednesday, 62. We're going to make it 64 Thursday with those showers and thunderstorms. We get cold quickly, only 43 on St. Patty's Day. Maybe some morning showers, maybe some morning light snow, very cold, down to 24. And we stay cold heading into this upcoming weekend into the 40s. And then as we head into next week, we don't do a lot of warming there either. We'll make it to the mid-50s by Wednesday with some additional rain chances next Tuesday. Well, Hollywood's biggest night was a celebration of the return to watching movies in theaters as the U.S. emerges from the 3-year COVID pandemic. For one popular film, Seven was the charm. Michelle Medina has more on the 95th Academy Awards show.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Everything Everywhere All at Once had a big night at the Oscars, taking home 7 statues, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actress.
I have great faith in our stories. These stories have changed my life, and they've done that for generations.
Michelle Yeoh made Oscars history by becoming the first Asian woman and the second woman of color to win the Best Actress award.
For all the little boys and girls who look like me watching tonight, this is a beacon of hope and possibilities. This is proof that dreams dream big and dreams do come true. And ladies, don't let anybody tell you you are ever past your prime.
The Oscars for Best Supporting Actor and Actress went to the film's co-stars Ke Huy Quan and Jamie Lee Curtis. Quan gave up acting 20 years ago because he didn't see opportunities for Asian actors.
My journey started on a boat. I spent a year in a refugee camp. And somehow, I ended up here on Hollywood's biggest stage. This is the American dream.
Curtis thanked her late actor parents.
I just won an Oscar.
Brendan Fraser won Best Actor for The Whale.
I just want to say thank you for this acknowledgement.
Oscars host Jimmy Kimmel addressed last year's slap at the Oscars during his opening monologue.
If anyone in this theater commits an act of violence at any point during the show, you will be awarded the Oscar for Best Actor.
And Lenny Kravitz performed a moving tribute to those in the business who passed away over the last year. Michelle Medina, CBS News.
Oscars were handed out in 23 categories at the request of members of the Academy. Last year, several categories were announced in a pre-show, which did not sit well with many. And that brings us to our question for you this morning. How many of those Best Picture nominees did you actually watch? Was it 0 to 1, 5 to 10? Or sorry, 0 to 5, my goodness. We're getting there. 1 to 5, 5 to 10, or possibly more. We want to hear from you. Make sure you vote through our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. You can also do so in our app and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. And assuming the time change doesn't hit us any harder, we'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, migraine sufferers will soon have something new to try to relieve their headaches fast. Pfizer says the Food and Drug Administration has approved its new nasal spray for adults with migraines. The drug manufacturer says the spray is called Zavspret and is considered a rapid rescue treatment. Pfizer said the nasal spray could relieve migraine pain within 15 minutes. There are a number of oral medications on the market for migraines, and Zavspret uses the same chemical mechanism as some of them. That's important because many people with migraines have significant nausea and cannot tolerate medications they have to swallow. Zavspret is also an alternative for people who have heart disease or other conditions preventing them from safely using some other kinds of migraine treatments. A new study links ketogenic or keto diet to a higher risk of heart attacks and cardiovascular disease. Ketogenic diets are high in fat and low in carbohydrates. They're so low in carbohydrates, they cause the body's metabolism to break down fat and turn it into energy. New research presented at the American College of Cardiology's annual scientific session has found a keto-like diet may be associated with higher blood levels of LDL cholesterol, which is often referred to as the bad cholesterol. The study also says the keto diet doubled the risk of cardiovascular events such as chest pain and blocked arteries, and it also associated with heart attacks and strokes. Health experts say the keto diet may work for short-term weight loss, but a long-term commitment to the diet may pose serious risks to the heart. Air pollution could be a danger to your heart health and new mammogram requirements from the FDA. Michael George has a recap of some of the recent top health stories.
The FDA is updating its mammogram standards to help better prevent, detect, and treat cancer. Under the new rules, providers will be required to notify women if they have dense breast tissue. About half of all women over the age of 40 have dense breasts, which can make it harder to detect breast cancer. New research shows the Omicron variant of the coronavirus is much less likely to lead to long COVID than the strain that circulated at the beginning of the pandemic. A Swiss study found that healthcare workers infected with the original strain were up to 67% more likely to experience long COVID than those who had never been infected. But there was no similar increase for healthcare workers infected with Omicron. And there's new evidence that the air you breathe can affect your heart health. Researchers tracked hospital admissions for cardiovascular disease in 70 Chinese cities and found higher admission rates in places with elevated ozone levels. They're concerned air pollution from climate change could make the problem worse. Those are some of the week's top health stories. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Yeah, and it is a cold one across the area today, and it's not going to do much in terms of warming. We'll take a look at your full forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Right now at 5:30, first responders take on a Sunday afternoon house fire in Joplin.
We've got a very cold start across the 4 states and another below average day for us as we head into the afternoon. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
And the community of Fort Scott, Kansas comes together over the weekend to support one of its members and his family during a difficult time.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:28. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So it is a cold start across the area. We are well below average. Our average lows right now should be right around the mid-30s. Our average highs are supposed to be the mid-50s, and we're about 10 to 12 degrees off of both of those. Now, we are going to warm up later this week. Unfortunately, that warm-up is going to be brief. And of course, it's in the middle of the week. So for those of you on spring break, enjoy it. If you're not on spring break, you're not going to be able to take advantage of it. MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline, we're looking good so far. And And from 7th and Range Line, looking good, but cold. 26 in Joplin, feeling like 18. That's with a light north breeze at about 7 miles an hour. I guess it's one good thing. Won't be too breezy today. Sitting at a bunch of 26s. Yates Center, Iola, Fort Scott, Nevada, Lamar, Carthage. We're at 25 Neodesha, 28 Chitopa, 29 Miami, and 28 in Neosho. As we head into our morning and get this day started, we're going to be partly to mostly cloudy and cold. Temperatures getting into the upper 20s to about 30 by 11 o'clock this morning. And then as we head into the afternoon, as mentioned, well below average, about 43 for a high, lower 40s. But we will see a bit more sunshine. It'll be partly cloudy and then eventually mostly clear. And we'll hang on to those clear skies as we go into the overnight, and we cool down quickly once that sun drops down to 32 by 10. Another below average night, 27 for our overnight low. Now we are going to warm up, as mentioned. We're up to 51 tomorrow, so a little bit better, much better by Wednesday and even Thursday. 62, mostly cloudy, breezy. And then we're watching thunderstorms coming in by about the noon, 1 o'clock hour Thursday. 64 for the high, and then that could translate into even a brief changeover to some light snow Thursday night into Friday morning. Not anticipating much from that snow, but could still transition. We'll keep an eye on it. St. Patty's Day, cold, 43, 24 for the low. We're going to stay chilly as we head into this upcoming weekend. Temperatures in the middle to upper 40s, but at least we'll be partly cloudy. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Fire crews battle an early Sunday afternoon blaze in Webb City. Reports of a structure fire in the 700 block of West 4th in Webb City alerted first responders. When crews arrived, they discovered smoke rolling out of the west side of a duplex. The front window had been busted out and there was obvious damage from smoke and fire. No residents or firefighters were injured, and the residents managed to get their pets to safety. The cause of the fire is under investigation. And fast-acting first responders put out a house fire in Joplin on Sunday. About 4:45 Sunday evening, firefighters responded to reports of smoke coming from the roof at a house at 810 West 17th in Joplin. Upon arrival, crews noticed smoke showing at a small one-story home. No occupants or firefighters were injured. Crews had the fire under control in about 20 minutes, but the house did suffer extensive damage. And we'll have more on this story on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. On Sunday, community members in Fort Scott, Kansas gathered for a lunch and auction benefiting Austin Parks and his family. Parks began cancer treatment earlier this year and has had an extended hospital stay. Those that came to eat lunch made donations and participated in an auction, with the proceeds going to help the Parks family.
Kyle Parks has been a teacher, or was a teacher in this community for 38 years, so he's been a pretty big staple to our community, and I was fortunate enough to replace him 2 years ago. So our family coming together and raising money for them has been awesome.
Several Fort Scott organizations helped to organize the event. Southeast Kansas Humane Society hosts a pet microchip clinic. According to the SCK Humane Society, 1 in 3 pets will go missing during their lifetime. The microchip is placed under the skin of the pets and acts as a collar that will never be lost. After the chip is inserted, the owner goes online and puts in their contact information.
Once you scan that microchip, it's registered in your name. So that way, whoever scans them will have your name and contact information. Therefore, then you'll be able to be contacted. Oh, hey, we have your dog. You guys can come and pick him up, kind of thing.
Cost of the microchip was $20. Well, this morning we're discussing the 95th Academy Awards.
Yeah, Hollywood's biggest night returned to all its shimmering glory as movies made a big return to theaters. And the most celebrated movie of the year walked away with many of the night's awards and made some history in the process.
The film Everything Everywhere All at Once walked away with 7 awards last night, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actress. Michelle Yeoh made Oscars history by becoming the first Asian woman and the second woman of color to win the Best Actress award.
Now, the other question of the night was, would Brendan Fraser win the Best Actor for the movie The Whale? Beating out such notables as Austin Butler for Elvis and Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Fraser walked away with his first Best Actor win and first Oscar nomination. And that does bring us to our question for you this morning. How many of these movies did you actually watch? Did you watch none of them? 1 to 5 of them? 5 to 10? So far, 100% of you say you didn't see any of them. I've got to admit, I haven't seen any of them either.
Yeah.
But they certainly do look good. And if they were good enough for some awards, might be worth checking out. So make sure you take time to vote through our website, through our app. Take part in discussion on our Facebook page. Maybe
I'm in the 1 to 5 category.
Okay, see, so maybe if you did see some, you could share which
I have
ones you
several
thought
on my
were
list
really
that I
good.
still want to watch, but yeah, none of the ones that won though.
That's usually how it goes.
All right, well, that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. The state of Texas is warning spring breakers not to visit Mexico as 3 women turn up missing after crossing the border.
Plus, Silver Dollar City kicks off its new season despite getting ready to shut down one of its most popular attractions.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping a World Watch, Pope Francis is making a major milestone on Monday, 10 years as head of the Roman Catholic Church. He will hold a mass with cardinals to celebrate the anniversary. The mass will take place in the chapel of the Vatican's Santa Marta Hotel, where Francis has lived since he became Pope. Francis made history in 2013 when he became the first Pope from Latin America. He succeeded Benedict XVI, who became the first Pope in 6 centuries to resign. Now, Francis is 86 and says he would be ready to step down if his health prevented him from leading the church. But he also says he believes popes should try to reign for life. Well, after weeks of protests, the French government is pushing ahead with plans to reform the pension system. By a vote of 195 to 112, the country's Senate has adopted a bill backed by President Emmanuel Macron. The bill would gradually raise the retirement age from 62 to 64, and it's still several steps away from becoming law. Police say more than 1.2 million people protested the plan last week, and strikes have disrupted power, oil refineries, schools, airports, and trains. Israelis took to the streets Saturday night for a 10th consecutive week of protest against plans by the government of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to weaken the power of the courts. Demonstration in front of President Isaac Herzog's house in Jerusalem drew several hundred protesters carrying Israeli flags and chanting slogans, including "Israel will not be a dictatorship." This is according to CNN. Herzog, whose role is largely ceremonial, Thursday night urged the Netanyahu government to take the judicial overhaul legislation off the table. Well, the state of Texas is urging people not to visit Mexico for spring break. The Department of Public Safety says there's a warning that a spike in drug cartel violence across the border could cost travelers their lives. This as we learn of yet another group now missing after crossing the border. The 3 women from Texas disappeared 2 weeks ago while on their way to sell clothing at a flea market. Rafael Romo has more.
It's been just a little over a week since 4 Americans from South Carolina were attacked and kidnapped in Mexico. As we previously reported, 2 of them tragically were killed. And now there's a new mystery. 3 women living in Texas are believed to be missing in Mexico after they crossed the U.S. border over 2 weeks ago, according to police. Authorities say the women are 2 sisters and a friend who crossed into Mexico on February 24. They were headed to the city of Montemorelos in the Mexican state of Nuevo León to sell clothes at a flea market. Mexican authorities told CNN about 80 agents from several law enforcement agencies are looking for the women. Regarding the kidnapped Americans, CNN has obtained and geolocated new video showing all 4 of them just hours before they were attacked on March 3rd. It was a live-streamed video taken by one of the victims. The images showed the group driving to a medical appointment in Matamoros across the border from Brownsville, Texas, but they never made it there. Mexico is the 2nd most popular destination for medical tourism globally. In 2020 alone, there were an estimated 1.4 to 3 million patients traveling into the country to take advantage of inexpensive treatment, according to Patients Beyond Borders, an international healthcare consulting company contacted by CNN. Rafael Romo, CNN Atlanta.
That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. We have got ourselves a very cold start to our Monday, well below average. Just a reminder, our average lows should be right around the mid-30s, and our average highs this time of year should be around the mid-50s, and we're not near any of that right now. MoDOT camera, 20th in range line. Even though it's cold, it at least looks good out there. There's no snow or any crazy stuff going on. Same as 7th in range line, of course. We're at 26 in Joplin. So that puts us, what, about 9 degrees off the pace. 18 is what it feels like, and that's with a light north breeze at about 7. Now, the good news is it's not going to be too terribly windy today, but even a light breeze is going to be enough to make it feel a lot colder out there. We're at 25 in Fort Scott, 27 Chanute, 25 Neodesha, 26 Independence Parsons, 27 in Pittsburgh, 29 in Miami, 30 Grove and Anderson, 28 Neosho, 26 Carthage, Lamar, and Nevada as we get our Monday underway. Now, as we go into the morning, we'll see a few more clouds. We're looking to be partly to mostly cloudy. We will remain very cold as temperatures only get into the upper 20s to about 30 by 11 o'clock this morning. So if that's any indication as to how warm it won't be today, we're looking at highs only in about the lower 40s, but as we head into the afternoon, the clouds will begin to clear. We'll go from partly cloudy to mostly clear skies as we start to head into the evening. And of course, remember now that we've sprung forward, the sun is going to stick around with us a little bit longer, and at least we're finally seeing some sunshine out there. It's felt a lot like January the last few days. 7:23 is when that sun will set tonight. We'll be down to 40 by 6. After that sun goes down, temperatures drop quickly down to 32 by 10, mostly clear skies, and down to 27 for our overnight low. So as we go through today, as mentioned, we'll have those clouds clearing out this afternoon. We remain mostly clear, but cold. We head into tomorrow. We'll see a few passing clouds, maybe some partly cloudy skies, and a little bit warmer, but still not where we should be. And then as we head into Wednesday, we're going to start to see a few more clouds. We're also going to see the temperatures pick up as the winds shift out of the south ahead of our next weather maker, and we're going to start to see those clouds really begin to increase as we head into Wednesday as well. And that's ahead of a pretty potent cold front that's going to be rolling through as we head into our Thursday. So Thursday morning, maybe a stray shower or two, but we'll really start to see showers and thunderstorms begin to pick up as we head into the afternoon hours. And you can tell roughly where that cold front's going to be positioned, where you go from 68 in Wichita, 43 Dodge City, and 25 in Goodland, with snow chances up there as well. So that's where that cold front will be positioned. And those showers and thunderstorms will continue with us as we head through the afternoon, evening hours, and even into the overnight before we could see on the back side of this front, as our temperatures begin to drop, we could see a transition to some snow across the area. Now, right now, we're not anticipating anything significant out of this snow, but we'll keep an eye on it for you just in case. But we aren't anticipating any real accumulations from it, but some light snow possible. However, that cold front kicks our temperatures right back down, and even as we head into the weekend, we don't do that much warming. So kids on spring break this week, you'll get 2, maybe 3 days to enjoy the weather, and then it's going to be cool again. We got 51 tomorrow, partly cloudy, up to 62 on Wednesday, 64 Thursday, where we're going to start to see some of those showers and thunderstorms. Those temperatures begin to drop rapidly overnight. And then we could see maybe some morning showers, maybe some of that light snow as we head into St. Patrick's Day. And then we're back to where we are now, 43 for a high on St. Patty's Day. And if you're doing anything in the evening, bundle up. We're looking at a low of 24 degrees. Heading into the weekend, we see some sunshine return. Temperatures do not return, though. As you see, we're in the mid to upper 40s. And unfortunately, as we head into the following week, we don't do any immediate warming then either. So we're only 49 by next Monday, mostly cloudy skies, still cold overnight, but at least these are a little closer to normal. Then on Tuesday of next week, maybe some rain chances, about 45 for the high. Our best warm day so far next week, looking to be next Wednesday. Even though it's going to be cloudy, we'll see those highs start to push into the mid-50s. So our first day of spring, which is Sunday, is not going to be very spring-like at all across the area, and it's going to take a while for spring to really set in. We'll be back with more right after this.
Silver Dollar City opened its gates on its season over the weekend, and many talented performers call the theme park home every summer. And as our former sports director, Chad Klein, reports, one man has been enjoying his time making music at the park for many years.
In Kimberling City, the lake is up. And so is the spirit of one of its residents, Brian Arnold.
You hope that with your life that you do something that
makes a difference.
Brian's life was shaped 116 miles away in West Plains. He wanted to be like his dad, basketball coach Bob Arnold.
At the age of 6, I slipped under a lawnmower. It was just kind of a freak accident, and my left leg was cut off below the knee and made fun of for having this artificial leg kind of thing. So I grew up with a bit of a chip on my shoulder. You know, you don't feel like you fit in.
Brian's mother, Shirley, had an idea. She bought a used piano for $25. It became a priceless gift for her son. He learned, practiced, and received a music scholarship to SMS, but most importantly, received a purpose in life. Brian got his start in Branson working on the strip. No, not in a theater, but at this Walmart.
In the toy department, which is the worst place in the world to work. You know, because kids are constantly, playing with the toys, and my job was to, stock shelves, face the shelves.
One day at work, Branson performer Gary Wilkinson of the Wilkinson Brothers heard he could play the piano and offered him a job.
And I looked at those shelves and everything, and absolutely.
Brian started playing piano at the old Roy Clark Celebrity Theater. That led to a full-time job at Silver Dollar City, first playing the piano, and later as a singer in the quartet named Chosen Few. They became so popular, the group would tour the region in the park's off-season. And on January 16th, 1994, Brian was on his way to another gig, this one in Marshfield.
And my wife said, "Don't go." And I said, "Oh, it'll be all right."
On I-44 near Stratford, Brian hit a patch of black ice, slid onto the westbound lanes, and into the path of a semi.
The seatbelt saved my life, but it's what caused all the damage because I found myself hanging by my neck out the door.
Many didn't think Brian would survive the night. He suffered numerous injuries, including a broken neck, and he severed the nerves running from his spinal cord to his left shoulder, arm, and hand.
And the whole time I'm lying there, I realized, this is a big deal because I can't move my arm. And of course, all the thoughts running through your head. I'm a piano player.
But the man without movement in his left arm leaned on the lessons of a boy without a left leg.
Even with the mess that I found myself in, God has this unique ability of taking a mess and turning it into a message, which is basically what he did with me.
Following surgeries and while fighting depression, Brian got exactly what he needed, an emotional phone call.
Silver Dollar City said, "Come on back to work." Now you got to understand, at the time, I'm in a halo brace. I look like an attraction, you know what I'm saying?
I want my life to be that roadmap that says home.
Then Brian thought, if he could sing with a paralyzed vocal cord from that accident, why couldn't he play the piano with the one good hand he still had? Brian was back doing what he loved, performing at Silver Dollar City in the summer and touring in the park's off-season.
Don't you give up.
This time, sharing his incredible story.
I have every reason to sit at home and give up and, oh, woe is me. But I just get up every day and I try to realize that I've got a purpose, and everybody has a purpose.
That's an amazing story. Well, Brian credits his wife, who helps him do many things from getting dressed to handling a majority of the chores around their home. Now, he's written a book about his life called From Victim to Victory, and you can buy it on Amazon. And we will be right back.
Air, plumbing, and electric.
Well, a popular St. Patrick's Day tradition took place in Savannah, Georgia, the annual greening of the fountain. The event kicks off the week of St. Patrick's Day, when the luck of the Irish and all things green are celebrated each March 17th. It's a huge holiday in Savannah where people from all over the world join in on the fun. In fact, according to the city, Savannah's St. Patrick's Day parade is one of the largest in America. Well, here's a view you won't find anywhere on Earth. This is a sunset on Mars. Check it out. NASA's Curiosity rover snapped this postcard-worthy pic on February 2nd. The NASA rover has been roaming across the surface of Mars for more than 10 years. is searching for answers as to why the red planet went from warm and wet to a frozen desert. It has discovered intriguing rock formations, searched for signs of life, and scaled Mount Sharp at the center of the Gale crater. But rather than continuing to focus on the near endless red stretch of rocks and dirt below its wheels, the rover has recently been looking up. And that's how this moment was captured. It's the first time rays of sunlight have been so clearly seen on the red planet.
We'll have some pretty clear skies to see those rays of sunlight for our sunset tonight here on Earth. We're going to be partly to mostly cloudy, though, as we get our morning started, and we are going to be cold as we hang out in the upper 20s to about 30 by 11 a.m. And we're going to be about 10 to 12 degrees below our average as we head into the afternoon, with highs only pushing the lower 40s. However, we will see a bit more sunshine. We'll go from partly cloudy to mostly clear skies as the afternoon progresses. And as we head into this evening, we'll see mostly clear skies. And as the sun sets, which remember does so later tonight and every night now, we will get cold quickly down to 32 by 10 with an overnight low of 27 degrees. So let's take a look at that 7-day forecast, see how the rest of the week is shaping up, if we dare. 51 tomorrow, so better Wednesday, mostly cloudy, breezy, 62. We're going to be 64 Thursday, and by the afternoon, we're going to start to see some showers and thunderstorms across the area with a powerful cold front. It's going to drop our temperatures, maybe some light showers, light snow heading into early Friday morning. Our St. Patty's Day, cold, 43 for the high, 24 for the low. We don't do much warming heading into the upcoming weekend. Mid to upper 40s. Will be 49 by next Monday. We're looking at more rain chances on Tuesday of next week and about 45. And our best warm day next week so far is looking to be Wednesday. We're going to be cloudy, but we're going to make it up to 55. And of course, after our temperatures warm up, our overnight lows warm up a bit. And then as they cool back down, they get back below freezing again. So not very spring-like across the area at all. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Wanted in a shooting involving 2 Herman officers.
And we got a very below average start for us today. Quite cold. We're going to be cold through the afternoon. We'll talk about those temperatures and a brief warm up on the way coming up.
And the city of Joplin turns out to honor the life of a police officer taken in the line of duty.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner, just after 6 o'clock on this Monday morning, and it is a cold Monday morning across the area. And unfortunately, it's not going to get much warmer either today. We have got below average temperatures. A reminder, our average high this time, or low this time of year, should be about the mid 30s. Our average high is the mid 50s, and we're not quite at that. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line, looking pretty good so far. Same at 7th and range line, but it is cold out there. In Joplin right now, we're at 25, feeling like 17. Across the area. It is cold with the north-northwest breeze at about 7. So when it gets this cold, it does not take much of a breeze to make it feel even colder. 26 in Iola, 27 Chanute, 26 Neodesha Parsons, 27 in Chetopa, Miami, Neosho, Monette, 25 Carthage, and 26 Lamar and Nevada. Now as we get our day started, we'll see a few more clouds. We'll go from partly to mostly cloudy skies through the start of the morning. And we're going to stay cold into the upper 20s to about 30 degrees by 11 a.m. And if that's any indication as to our highs, you can see they're about 10 to 12 degrees below average as well. So we're looking at highs only pushing the lower 40s today. And as you can see, we don't get there quickly either. We are going to spend the majority of our day in the 30s with partly cloudy to eventually mostly clear skies. So we will start to see a little more sunshine. As a matter of fact, with the sun setting a little later, we'll actually get to see that sunset. And we'll, again, drop quickly once the sun does set. We'll be mostly clear, down to 32 by 10, overnight low of 27 degrees. So again, in that 10 to 12 degree range, off pace for average. Now, as we head into this week, we will start to do some warming as we start to see the breeze shift a little bit. And then we're watching a pretty powerful cold front as we head into Thursday. It could set off some showers and some thunderstorms, especially as we head into the afternoon hours across the region. And it will still at least be warmer. And these showers and thunderstorms will continue continue into the evening and overnight before we could see a brief transition to some light snow across the area. Now, we're not expecting much from this snowfall, but we could still see some, and of course, we'll keep an eye on it as we get a little bit closer. And then after that cold front moves through, it makes us just downright cold out there. So we get up 51 tomorrow, 62 Wednesday, mostly cloudy and breezy, 64 Thursday with those storms, maybe some light snow flurries as we head into our Friday morning. St. Patty's Day is cold too, 43, 24 for the low, and then we get into the mid to upper 40s as we head into this upcoming weekend, and we go beyond that, it just doesn't feel spring-like at all. Keep in mind, this is our first official day of spring, and we're 12 degrees off our average high, and we stay that way. It won't be until Wednesday next week that we'll start to see some normal temperatures following some rain chances by next Tuesday. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. And we have a blue alert out of Herman, Missouri, breaking overnight just after 9:15 Sunday night. A shooting took place at KC's on 811 Market Street in Herman, Missouri. Reports say a suspect shot 2 Herman police officers and fled the scene. Now, this man, Kenneth Lee Simpson, who is 35 years old, is that suspect. At this time, it is unknown if the suspect is on foot or in a 2014 black Jeep Wrangler. It has a Missouri license plate number of RF5AOP. If you have any information pertaining to this alert, please contact local law enforcement. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, many gathered in the community over the weekend to celebrate the life of one of Joplin's finest. KOAM's Carrie Worthen was there and has the details.
And I can honestly say that he was one of my favorites.
Friends, family, and coworkers gathered today to celebrate Jake Reed's memory. Jake Reed was a police officer for the Joplin Police Department. In Reed's final act of service, he donated his organs so other people could live.
It's one thing giving the ultimate sacrifice, during the line of duty, but to go a step further and to provide your organs so that other people can live, it's a step above.
Today's marked Officer Jake Reed Day. Through tears, one by one, people shared stories about Reed.
While my walk of faith hasn't been easy, and I don't consider myself some great example, I have a few things in my faith I stay true to. And one is I know that when I get to heaven, Jake will be there.
He was one of the few officers that would always come in and say hi to dispatch no matter what. He wanted to have that connection with us, like we were family.
He just did that because that's who he was.
He always wanted to know what was new in my life, what was going on, and I deeply miss those conversations. I think about him every day, and I'd give anything to have those talks again.
And don't forget about the laughs.
Jake gets his back. He's smiling. Everyone knows that smile. He's laughing. So what'd you get, Jake? An A. I said, Jake, how do you cheat off me and get a better grade? And he said, you can take it up with the professor. I'm sure he'll give you an A.
And he would have been successful had there not been one small tree on the side of the trail. It was over. Jake was calling for a medevac and said he was done riding. He also had a strong love for my daughter. We'd go over to Jake and Bailey's for dinner. I think Jake played with Rayleigh the entire time. My daughter loved him.
He was unapologetically always himself. I don't recall a day when Jake didn't make me laugh, even after arguing with him. I miss the sound of Jake's laugh and that beautiful smile. I miss the hope for a long lifetime of brotherhood.
When you think of Jake, just remember that big smile looking down on all of us from heaven.
Officer Jake Reed's end of watch was March 11th, 2022. In Joplin, Carrie Worthen, KOAM News.
Jake Reed Memorial Scholarship Fund has been set up in Jake's honor to help pay for an MSSU criminal justice student's tuition and will continue each year, as well as a donor-advised fund. On Sunday, community members in Fort Scott, Kansas gathered for a lunch and auction benefiting Austin Parks and his family. Parks began cancer treatment earlier this year and has had an extended hospital stay. Those that came to eat lunch made donations and participated in an auction, with the proceeds going to help the Parks family.
Kyle Parks has been a teacher, or was a teacher in this community for 38 years, so he's been a pretty big staple to our community, and I was fortunate enough to replace him 2 years ago. So our family coming together and raising money for them has been awesome.
Several Fort Scott organizations helped to organize the event. Southeast Kansas Humane Society hosts a pet microchip clinic. According to the SEK Humane Society, 1 in 3 pets will go missing during their lifetime. The microchip is placed under the skin of the pets and acts as a collar that will never be lost. After the chip is inserted, the owner goes online and puts in their contact information.
Once you scan that microchip, it's registered in your name, so that way whoever scans them will have your name and contact information. Therefore, then you'll be able to be contacted. Oh, hey, we have your dog. You guys can come and pick him up, kind of thing.
The cost of the microchip was $20. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, too big to fail all over again?
The Fed steps in after the second biggest bank failure in U.S. history. I'm Jared Hill with why regulators hope this will stave off a more widespread panic.
And new relief for people with Tourette's syndrome may come in the form of a wrist device. We'll explain. And Chris has another look at your cold weather forecast when we can expect more spring-like temperatures to return. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Lady Out of Her Fortune, directed by Michaela West. Get your tickets now at Joplin Little Theater. See you at the theater.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, a frightening scene at Burlington International Airport in Vermont on Sunday. United Airlines flight that landed in Burlington was held on the tarmac for several hours because of a threat made to the aircraft. CNN affiliate reports a note indicated a device was on the plane. The crew was notified of the threat about 20 minutes before the plane was scheduled to land. Police and other law enforcement officers, including bomb squad members, searched the plane and determined nothing unusual or suspicious was found, and no one was hurt. The plane took off from Newark International Airport in New Jersey. U.S. Border Patrol agents say they had to shut down traffic at an international bridge crossing in El Paso, Texas on Sunday. This happened after a large group of people attempted to cross the Paso del Norte International Bridge from Mexico. An agency spokesperson said Border Patrol agents put up barriers to prevent anyone from entering the country. They said they were trying to prevent a mass entry into the United States. Disruptions happened at 2 other border crossings on Sunday because a large group of migrants attempted to get through. The Paso del Norte Bridge was reopened Sunday evening. Federal government has stepped in to limit the fallout from the second largest banking failure in U.S. history. This after 2 banks collapsed in a matter of days. Federal officials insist this will not be a taxpayer-funded bailout. President Biden is expected to address the issue later this morning. Jared Hill has more.
Federal regulators say they're taking emergency measures to make sure depositors of the now failed Silicon Valley Bank, or SVB, will have access to all their funds starting today. They say they're taking similar measures for investors of Signature Bank of New York, which collapsed yesterday.
I've been working all weekend with our banking regulators to design appropriate policies to address this situation.
SVB's failure on Friday was a major concern to the tech and wine businesses it financed. Its collapse, followed closely by Signature Bank's, raised concerns about how this could reverberate among other financial institutions. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen reassured customers on Face the Nation.
The American banking system is really safe and well capitalized. It's resilient.
According to a joint statement released by the Federal Reserve, the Department of the Treasury, and Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, they're acting in a way that, quote, fully protects all depositors. Regulators insist the plan will not include using taxpayer dollars, as the 2 failed banks have not been rescued. Lawmakers on both sides are hopeful they can be acquired.
That would be the ideal situation, and our delegation that talked to the FDIC last night made that clear.
It is attractive for someone to want to purchase it. It's just a timeline of where to move forward, and the administration has tools to deal with this.
There's also a new push by some House lawmakers to extend temporary lines of credit to the bank's depositors to assist with essential costs like payroll. Jared Hill, CBS News.
In a separate announcement, the Fed late Sunday announced an emergency lending program intended to prevent a wave of people pulling money out of banks, essentially lending freely to the banking system so that customers would be confident that they could access their accounts whenever needed. And last night, President Biden said in a statement he's committed to holding those responsible fully accountable. That's a look at one of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
And we've got ourselves a very cold start out there. Take a look at these temperatures as we're all sitting roughly in the mid to upper 20s. A couple of us a little bit warmer down there in Oklahoma, but we are still roughly 10 to 12 degrees off pace for what our average lows should be this time of year. We're going to take a look at this chilly forecast and a brief warm-up that's on the way when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Ladies, March 15th through 19th.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Time for a little weather trivia this morning. So we're all familiar with FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency. It was formed in 1978. What we want to know this morning is which of these is the parent agency of FEMA? Is it the Department of Public Safety, all of these in this list, the Department of Transportation, or the Department of Homeland Security? We'll take a look at the answer in just a moment, but first let's take a look at how cold it is. 7th in range line. That's the thing, is that we've said this before, whether it's hot or cold, just by looking, you can't always tell, but it is quite chilly out there. Same from the MODOT camera at 20th in range line. It doesn't look cold, but believe me, it is. In fact, how cold is it? Well, this box will tell us. 25 is where we sit in Joplin. 17 is what it feels like. That's with north-northwest breeze at 7. When it gets really cold, it doesn't take much of a breeze to make it feel a lot colder. We are 25 Yates Center, Fort Scott, 26 Parsons, 27 Chetopa, Miami, and Pittsburgh, 26 Lamar, Nevada, 25 in Carthage, and 27 in Neosho and Monette. Now, as we get our day underway, we'll see a few more clouds. We're looking to be partly to mostly cloudy as our morning gets going. We're also going to remain cold as our temperatures hang out in the upper 20s to about 30 degrees by 11 o'clock. Remember, our average lows are about 35. Our average highs are about 55. And we're going to be nowhere near that, unfortunately. I wish I had better news. I guess the one piece of good news is we'll see more sunshine, and that's helpful. Into the lower 40s for highs today. As you can see, though, we're going to spend the majority of our day in the upper 30s before we eventually make it to those lower 40s, just before the sun decides to head back to bed, and that's what we all should do too, because it's just about good enough to hibernate. Down to 32 by 10, mostly clear skies tonight, dropping back down to 27 for our overnight low. Now we will start to warm up, albeit briefly, over the next 2 to 3 days, and then we've got a very powerful cold front that's going to be coming in, and it's going to knock our temperatures right back down. Even though spring is just a few days away, it's not going to feel very spring-like. So let's head into our Thursday morning. We could see a few showers. This cold front out there starts to kick off showers, some thunderstorms across the region as we head into the afternoon hours. And we'll hang on to showers and thunderstorm chances as we head into the evening and overnight. And then there's that possibility of a brief transition to some light snow across the area. We're not expecting much in the way of snow. In fact, we're really not expecting anything in the way of snow at this point. But of course, we'll keep an eye on it for you. After that clears out, though, and this cold front's done with us, it remains quite cold again. We'll take a look at that on the 7-day in just a moment. So back to our question, though, which of these is the parent agency of FEMA? Well, if you happen to pick the Department of Homeland Security, you would be correct. In fact, the U.S. had teams in place for 200 years to respond to disasters. FEMA was established under President Carter and was the first time where those teams were actually trained to handle with large-scale disaster responses. It's where they actually organize teams and train them to respond to disasters. 51 on Tuesday, 62 and breezy Wednesday. We got those thunderstorms Thursday, 64. Maybe some showers, maybe a little bit of light snow St. Patty's Day in the morning. 43 for the highs, so not very warm at all. Back to where we are now, 24 for the low. We head into the weekend, not a lot of warming taking place. Mid to upper 40s all the way through Monday. Mid 40s next Tuesday with some additional rain chances out there. And our best spring-like day is going to be next Wednesday at 55. And I say that because spring officially kicks off this Sunday. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
of our lives sleep.
Topping Health Watch this morning, a study in the journal Pediatrics finds from 2019 to 2020, the sudden infant death syndrome rate increased 15%, becoming the third leading cause of infant death in the U.S. Researchers say it's unclear why, but it could be due to the pandemic or to changing death certification practices. Many who actively monitor their localized prostate cancer have the same survival rates after 15 years as men who undergo radiotherapy or surgery. And that's from the largest study of its kind published in the New England Journal of Medicine. Researchers found men who had undergone surgery or radiotherapy experienced negative effects to their urinary, bowel, and sexual function for up to 12 years. And a new clinical trial finds this wrist device developed by UK scientists could offer relief for people with Tourette's syndrome. 13-year-old Milo Roberts took part in the trial, recording his tics without using the wrist device. And then after turning it on, researchers say the wristband's electrical pulses help his tics diminish. The trial found the wristband reduced the severity and frequency and tics by more than 25%. Right now, the options for someone in a mental health crisis in Dane County, Wisconsin are few hotlines, emergency rooms, or jail cells. But this new mental health emergency center means soon there will be another way to get help. Braden Ross takes a closer look.
They're not doing anything wrong. They're not criminals. They need mental health care.
According to NAMI Wisconsin's executive director, Mary Battaglia, the state has a gap.
The problem we have throughout Wisconsin right now is there's not many places for people to go that are in a mental health crisis.
It's a problem Dane County Supervisor Joe Parisi hopes a new facility can help solve.
At the Crisis Triage Center, someone can walk in, present, or be dropped off, and someone will be there, just as the name says, to triage their situation immediately.
On Thursday, Parisi announced the Dane County Mental Health Crisis Triage Center has found a home in the county jail's former Huber Center. He says the center will work with other mental health resources in the area, including crisis response teams like Madison's CARES program.
And this will be one more resource that the CARES team can use, that families can use, that can be an alternative to an emergency room to provide the most comprehensive and compassionate care available for people who are in need.
The closest government mental health care facility for people in Dane County right now is in Winnebago, almost 2 hours away.
Right now, the way the system is set up is that it's usually in the back of a police car, which is very traumatizing for the person going through the mental health crisis, and not a great use of county taxpayers' money.
Battaglia says a center in Madison would mean more people can get the care they need and faster.
It doesn't require that transportation to Winnebago or, quite frankly, unfortunately, sometimes in some of the communities, they end up in jail because they don't have another option.
Well, Parisi said there's still no set opening timeline, but now that they have a building, next up is assessing it for renovations and finding a mental health provider to run the center. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got a very cold start for us across the area, and we don't do much warming today. We're going to be into the upper 20s to near 30 as we go through the morning hours with some partly to mostly cloudy skies across the region. As we head into the afternoon, we're going to be about 10 to 12 degrees below average as highs only make it into the lower 40s, but we will see a bit more sunshine. So I suppose that's some good news as we'll go from partly cloudy to mostly clear skies. And as we head into this evening, we hang on to those mostly clear skies, but after the sun sets, temperatures drop quickly down to 32 by 10 with another well below average low of 27. Thankfully not 17. It's not quite that cold, but boy, it's certainly going to feel that way. It is hard to believe we are in March at this point. Now, as we go into the upcoming week, we do have a couple of warm days ahead of us. Actually, technically, I guess 3 warmer days for us before a powerful cold front comes in Thursday. We'll start to see showers and thunderstorms begin to develop in the morning and last with us, really picking up in the afternoon and evening hours and heading into the overnight. There's that possibility of a brief transition over to some light snow, but we're not anticipating really anything significant from that snow. So here's our warmer days. Still below average, but better. 51 tomorrow, 62 and breezy Wednesday, 64 Thursday with those storms, and down to 43 St. Patrick's Day with an overnight low of 24. So a very chilly day. Maybe some morning showers again, maybe some light flurries out there. And as we head into the upcoming weekend, we We don't do much warming. Mid to upper 40s, first day of spring, nowhere near spring-like as we're only 47 degrees. We'll be back with more right after this.
Right now at 6:30, first responders take on a Sunday afternoon house fire in Joplin.
We've got decent looking roads out there. Looks nice, but it is very cold this morning and it is going to be below average today. We're going to take a look at that forecast coming up.
And bam, pow, sock. The Comic Book Roadshow swoops into the Hilton Garden Inn in Joplin to bring some super collectibles to area collectors.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 6:31. I'm Tanya Buck.
I'm Chris Warner. Did a great job with that, by the way.
I tried.
It was fantastic. We were only missing the little horns to go with it. We'll have to see if we can come up with that next time.
And had you known, yeah.
Had I known, I probably could have had something ready to go for you. I am full of tricks. So, but still. It is cold. Today's a great day to stay inside and enjoy a comic book, perhaps, because it's going to be chilly, but it's going to remain that way. It is quite cold this morning. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line. It is looking good. Traffic flowing, which is always a pleasant thing. 7th and Range Line, same situation. Few cars out there looking good, but it is, again, quite cold. 25 in Joplin right now. Feeling like 17 with a north-northwest breeze at 7, so it's not even a strong breeze, and it is making it feel much colder out there. And when it's really cold, it doesn't take much of a breeze to make it feel colder. 25, Fort Scott and Yates Center. 26, Iola, Pittsburgh, Chautauqua, Parsons, and Independence. 25 in Neodesha. 27, Miami, Neosho, and 25, Carthage and Lamar. Now, as our morning progresses, it's not going to get any better. Sounded excited, right? That made you feel overjoyed, and then I've got to deliver bad news. But let's try and be joyous about it, okay? We're going to see some cloudy skies. So this morning, okay, maybe not so joyous, and cold, upper 20s, about 30 degrees by 11 a.m. But this afternoon, even though it's cold and well below average, there will be more sunshine. That's something that's good, right? Because, boy, it has felt like January the last few days. It's been cold, it's been dreary, it's been blah, but at least we'll get some sunshine. Lower 40s for highs, starting to see mostly clear skies as we head into the evening. And as our evening progresses, we remain mostly clear, down to 32 by 10. Another below average low, though, of 27 degrees out there. So bundle up if you're outside tonight. Up to 51 tomorrow, 62 and breezy Wednesday. Showers and thunderstorms Thursday, 64. Powerful cold front kicks our temperatures back down. Maybe some morning showers, light snow Friday morning, nothing major, but still there. 43 St. Patty's Day, and our first day of spring, only 47 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, fire crews battle an early Sunday afternoon blaze in Webb City. Reports of a structure fire in the 700 block of West 4th in Webb City alerted first responders. When crews arrived, they discovered smoke rolling out of the west side of the duplex. A front window had been busted out and there was obvious damage from smoke and fire. No residents and firefighters were injured, and residents managed to get their pets to safety. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Fast-acting first responders put out a house fire in Joplin on Sunday. About 4:45 Sunday evening, firefighters responded to reports of smoke coming from the roof of a home at 810 West 17th in Joplin. Upon arrival, crews noticed smoke showing at a small one-story home. No occupants or firefighters were injured. Crews had the fire under control in about 20 minutes, but the house suffered extensive damage, and we have more on this story on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, the Miners Home Museum in Franklin, Kansas hosts its next program in conjunction with its quarterly exhibit of Money and Metals, doing business in the mining era. Participants learn how to sort their coins for appraisal, as well as which coins they could spend and which coins they should save. The event featured special guests to help take a deeper look at the coinage.
I think there's no substitute for experience. Having kids touch money, use money, spend money, save money is very, very important. And that's how we all started as collectors. So the more experience people get with actually handling money, the more familiarity they have with it, of course.
Participants were able to view the quarterly exhibit following the presentation. The Comic Book Roadshow rolls into Joplin at the Hilton Garden Inn to see what collectibles four-seaters had to offer. And those at the event had the opportunity to sell their vintage comic books, baseball cards, toys, and video games for cash. The roadshow was staffed with antique dealers that specialize in such collectibles.
Well, a lot of times it's the excitement on their faces when they think, I almost threw it away. Well, my wife said, no, let's go see what they're worth, and then it's like, see, I told you so. We should have took it in there, and now we did. Now we can, go have a vacation somewhere for a weekend with the money.
The show continues today back at the Hilton Garden Inn starting at 10 a.m. Well, this morning we're discussing the 95th Academy Awards.
Hollywood's biggest night returned to all its shimmering glory as movies made a big return to theaters. And the most celebrated movie of the year walked away with many of the night's awards and made some history in the process.
The film, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, walked away with 7 awards last night, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actress. Michelle Yeoh made Oscars history by becoming the first Asian woman and the second woman of color to win the Best Actress award.
Now, the other question of night was, would Brendan Fraser win the Best Actor for the movie The Whale? And beating out such notables as Austin Butler for Elvis and Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Fraser walked away with his first Best Actor win and first Oscar nomination. And that does bring us to our question for you this morning. How many of those Best Picture nominees did you watch? 0, 1 to 5, or 5 to 10? So far, 83% of you are with me. I haven't seen any of them, unfortunately. But 17% of you say you've seen between 1 and 5, and that's where you sit as well. So make sure you take time to vote through our website or app, take part in discussion, and if you did see these movies, maybe share which one was your favorite.
All right, well, that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, doing more by doing little.
Setting up for success by doing less. I'm Michael George with more on Bare Minimum Mondays.
And we've got a pretty chilly start to the day. We'll take a look at that chilly forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Joplin.
In Consumer Watch this morning, sounds like Twitter may have some competition from Facebook's parent company. Meta says it is exploring building a new standalone platform for sharing text updates. The news might be welcome to Twitter users who've made an exit recently. Platform would be decentralized, meaning users could ostensibly create different servers for communities, each with their own rules, rather than one central platform controlled by Meta. Now, the concept is similar to Reddit or Discord, but a departure from how Meta's other platforms function. In recent months, a number of upstart platforms have attempted to capitalize as Twitter struggles with frequent outages, the return of controversial users, and a drop-off in advertisers. Well, in Oscar weekend, the winning film at the box office was Scream 6, the horror sequel from our parent company, Paramount Pictures, and Spyglass Media Group scored a franchise topping $44.5 million in domestic sales North American theaters. Hershey is unveiling a treat for the plant-based crowd, vegan Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Interesting. The new Peanut Butter Cups go on sale this month and are the company's first vegan chocolates to be sold nationally. A second new plant-based offering features almonds and sea salt and will follow in April. Hershey says the chocolates are made with oat milk instead of cow's milk. All right, I wondered what made it vegan, and there you go. The latest office trend eases into the work week by doing less. It's called Bare Minimum Mondays. As Michael George explains, it's not about slacking, it's about self-care.
Marissa Jo Mays came up with a solution to the dreaded start of the work week.
This video is permission to do the absolute bare minimum today.
The self-employed digital creator and startup co-founder practices Bare Minimum Mondays.
You used to hate Mondays, but now you love them.
From her home in Phoenix, Mays keeps the first 2 hours of her Monday free and schedules only 3 tasks for the day.
It was like some kind of sorcery had happened. As soon as the pressure was gone, I was more productive than I'd been in a long time. You'd make a to-do list that was way too long, thinking you could overachieve your way out of the stress, but you never did.
Mays promoted the concept with TikTok videos, and they went viral.
People relate to the stress that I'm describing and the overwhelm that I'm describing. And when they hear about the changes that I feel now, they want in.
Bare Minimum Mondays is the latest strategy to combat ever-increasing work burnout. According to the job search engine and review site Glassdoor, the phrase mental health in company reviews jumped 91% from 2019 to 2022. Burnout mentions were up 42% in that same time. Now, workers are experimenting more with boundaries.
If employers are concerned about how this is playing out in the workplace, it's a great time to reopen the discussion about how burnout is affecting employees.
While the bare minimum approach isn't possible for all workers, Mays says there are ways everyone can improve their day.
It's really asking these questions that can start to get people thinking about themselves as also a human in addition to an employee.
And it's working.
And that doing less can be more. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
That's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Well, thankfully, it is not one of those kind of Mondays here. Otherwise, this forecast would end right about here. But it's cold. See you later. But we still have a forecast to get through, and we do not take it easy any day of the week. So MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline looking good but cold. They are sitting at 25 in Joplin, feel like 17 with a light north-northwest breeze at about 7. Cold temperatures across the region, 26 Iola, 27 Chanute, 25 Neodesha, 26 Chitopa, 27 Miami, Neosho, 25 Carthage, and 25 in Lamar and Nevada. All right, as we get our day started, it is going to be a cold one. We'll see a few more clouds. We're looking to be partly to mostly cloudy for the first part of our morning. Temperatures only into the upper 20s to about 30 by 11 o'clock this morning. And as we head into our afternoon, it's not going to get much better, but we'll see more sunshine, and that's a positive thing. We'll go from partly cloudy to mostly clear skies, hanging out in the 30s for the majority of our day, but eventually making it into the lower 40s for our afternoon highs. We'll have another look at that complete forecast, including a warm-up and some rain chances on the way. We're also going to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries, but before we get to any of that, why don't we go ahead and check in with the mothership, see what's happening on CBS Mornings. All right, let's see what we got.
Oh, this is amazing.
Tony puts chef and author Tamar Adler to the test coming up. The food she found tucked away in Jill Schleisinger's kitchen and what it became, that's ahead on CBS Mornings.
You call until you walk through our doors.
Time for some Monday birthdays in the 4 states, and we're going to start in Columbus with Faith DePratt celebrating birthday number 3. Faith, happy birthday.
Azariah Span celebrating a birthday in Pittsburgh. Hope you have a wonderful day, Azariah.
And we've got Samuel Shorter in celebrating birthday number 10. It says, we love you more than all the green M&Ms in the world. Happy birthday, Samuel.
I like that. Walter Stipp turns 10 years old as well, getting ready to gear up for baseball season in Frontenac.
And Wyatt Buck over in Carthage celebrating birthday number 11. Happy birthday, Wyatt.
And Dylan Inch, as I understand, just got accepted into pharmacy school. That's pretty cool. Dylan is 20 years old this year in Frontenac.
And Anthony Mosley celebrating birthday number 22 in Joplin. Happy birthday, Anthony.
All right, Hunter McPherson, pictured here with his son Jackson in Frontenac. Happy birthday, Hunter.
And we've also got Patricia Bennett celebrating birthday number 36. Happy birthday, Patricia.
Katie Carlskent turning 44 years old this year. Katie is in Pittsburgh.
And Jeremiah Davis celebrating birthday number 48 in Pittsburgh, pictured here with Little Chili. Happy birthday, Jeremiah.
Happy birthday, Jeremiah. And Ronald Sachs turning 69 years old this year. Good picture there of Ronald in Joplin.
And our list goes on with Mike Wommeldorf celebrating birthday number 76 in Parsons.
Pete and Rayma Crawford are celebrating their 47th anniversary this year. They're in Joplin.
All right, what a great list. And of course, we love celebrating with you as much as you love celebrating with us. Tanya, what do they need to do to make sure we celebrate on time?
All they have to do is send us their birthday pics to this email, birthdayswithan@KOAMnewsnow.com. Make sure you send them in 3 p.m. Monday through Thursday. That's the deadline to get them in for the next day. But if you want them in on Monday, you got to send them by 1 on Friday.
All right, easy to do, and something else that's really easy to do is being part of the KOAM Birthday Club. All you need to do is go over to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. You sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club, and once you do that, you get some great deals from local businesses. Additionally, you get a special birthday message from your friends here at KOAM. So head over to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for that birthday club today. All right. Today's a good day to stay inside, sign up for the birthday club, submit your birthdays and anniversaries, read some comics, watch some television because it's cold and it's going to remain that way. MoDOT camera, 20th and Rangeline. We look good, but it is chilly. How chilly is it? Well, not as chilly as that cute dog we saw earlier, but 25 degrees. Kind of chilly. 17 is what it feels like in Joplin with a north-northwest breeze at 7. Taking a look at temperatures across the area. Man, it is cold. We are supposed to be in the mid-30s, by the way, for our overnight lows, and we are clearly nowhere near that. 23 Fort Scott, 26 Pittsburgh, Parsons, Independence, 25 Neodesha, Yates Center, 27 in Miami, a little bit warmer, Grove and Jay at 30, 29 Anderson, 27 Neosho, Monette, and 25 Carthage, Lamar, and Nevada. Now, as our day gets started, we might see a few more clouds, looking to be partly to mostly cloudy through our morning. We remain downright cold. Temperatures in the upper 20s to about 30 degrees by 11 o'clock. And that's any indication of our highs? Yeah, nowhere near normal either, unfortunately, as we're only looking to make it into the lower 40s. And here's the other thing. While we will see more sunshine, we're going to go from partly cloudy to mostly clear skies. We're going to spend the majority of our day in the upper 30s before we actually reach the lower 40s briefly before the sun goes back to bed. And once it does, it turns off the warm or the whatever it is out there because it's not very warm. We drop back down to 32 by 10, clear skies overnight, down to 27 for that low. Now, we do have a couple, 3 warm days coming our way starting tomorrow. Now, tomorrow still won't be average, but it'll be better than today. And then we'll be a little bit warmer after that before a very powerful cold front comes in Thursday. That's going to set the stage for some showers and thunderstorms across the area, and they'll really start to ramp up as we head into the afternoon, evening, and overnight hours. And you can see clearly where that cold front is positioned with all that snow across western Kansas. Now, you can see here on the future track showing the possibility of maybe some light snow overnight Thursday into early Friday morning. At this point, we're not really worried about it. We're not anticipating much out of it, but there is that possibility of a brief transition to some light snow. All right, let's get to the warm stuff. 51 tomorrow, 62 Wednesday, and breezy. Thunderstorms Thursday, 64. That cold front kicks us in the rear, drops our temperatures down, only 43 on St. Patty's Day. That means we're going to drop down to a very cold 24 degrees. Then we head into the weekend. 44 Saturday, partly cloudy, 25 for the low. First day of spring, yeah, sure, okay. That's what the calendar says anyway. 47 degrees for the high under partly cloudy skies. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Just after 9:15 Sunday night, a shooting took place at Casey's at 811 Market Street in Herman, Missouri. Reports say a suspect shot 2 Herman police officers and fled the scene. Now, this man, Kenneth Lee Simpson, who is 35 years old, is that suspect. At this time, it's unknown if the suspect is on foot or in a 2014 black Jeep Wrangler. Missouri license plate number RF5 AOP. If you have any information pertaining to this alert, please contact local law enforcement. About 4:45 Sunday evening, firefighters responded to reports of smoke coming from the roof of a house at 810 West 17th in Joplin. On arrival, crews noticed smoke showing at a small 1-story home. No occupants or firefighters were injured. Crews had the fire under control in about 20 minutes. The house suffered extensive damage. We'll have more on this story on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. On Sunday, community members in Fort Scott, Kansas gathered for a lunch and auction benefiting Austin Parks and his family. Parks began cancer treatment earlier this year and has had an extended hospital stay. Those that came to eat lunch made donations and participated in an auction with proceeds going to help the Parks family. Well, the comic book roadshow rolls into Joplin at the Hilton Garden Inn to see what collectibles 4-staters had to offer. Those at the event had the opportunity to sell their vintage comic books, baseball cards, toys, and video games for cash. The roadshow was staffed with antique dealers that specialize in such collectibles. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
As you head out the door, it's a cold one. Bundle up. Highs in the lower 40s today, partly cloudy to mostly clear skies. Another cold night, mostly clear, down to 27 for our low. Do a little warming up. We got temperatures of 51 tomorrow, 62 Wednesday, 64 on Thursday with storms. And we get cold again Friday, 43, and we're in the mid to upper 40s through the weekend.
All right, well, coming up today at noon, we're making classic corned beef and cabbage in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
All right, and your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. Actor, comedian, and activist Cal Penn is taking his turn this week hosting The Daily Show. Coming up on CBS Mornings, he joins the show to tell what he has in store.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, we smell something rotten as the cast of a new musical production from the Independence High School stops by the studio.
And that's going to wrap it up for us for now. We will be back here tomorrow morning. You know what time, 5 a.m.
All right, and we're going to do it again today at noon.